Hey everyone, it's me here, Kimmel, back here for another video, and today I want to discuss the subject of sanding drywall when you're finishing the joints, or not sanding it and instead using a sponge to sponge finish the drywall. Now, as I mentioned in a previous video, I learned to finish drywall from Mr. Gamo, my teacher in building trades school here in New York. And then I went to work for a couple different contractors for 9 years before going into business for myself. And what I learned and what I did in those early years was I finished the drywall and I sanded. I would put on the first coat and sand a little bit to get any boogers and ridges off, and then put on the second coat and sand it as needed after that, and then put on the third coat and finish sand. In a nutshell, that's how it's done. So I always sanded my drywall, and every other professional that I know sanded their drywall. But I would hear every once in a while about some person who was so good at finishing drywall that they never had to sand. All they did when they were done was take a sponge and they would just do a little sponge finishing. So there was no dust. They were that good. And I never knew one of these people. I just heard about that. That bothered me because if there's somebody that good out there that they don't have to sand, I want to be able to do that too. And so I bought a drywall sanding sponge. I don't know if they still sell them, but they did. Back in the day, I found one somewhere and it was like a regular sponge, and then it had like a little bristly surface on one side. It was a long time ago. I gave that a serious try. So what I found is that you can sponge finish drywall and it will look okay, but there's no way that it's ever going to look as good as a properly and skillfully sanded drywall job. If there's someone watching this who disagrees with that, please leave it in your comments. But anyway, with sanding in mind, let me just talk about that for a moment. I like to use this right here, just a basic hand sander. And I like the 3M mesh. It's a mesh drywall screen. That's what they call it. That 120, I believe, is the grit, medium. And I use this all along. You know, this works well on the easy sand, hot mud, which doesn't sand really easy, but it sands easier than like the Durabond, which is like concrete. This is a good product, this sanding mesh. And back in the day, I had a pole sander. If you were in the trades, you will remember these. I don't think they sell them. They were this shape and they were on a pole and then articulated around, and you'd do ceilings and you'd do walls, and sometimes it would flop over. It was a pain to use. And now I see they have pole sanders with a round disc. That looks like a better product. But now, these days, I'm pretty happy with just using this. I'm up close. I can see, even when I'm doing a ceiling, and ceilings are important. I mean, well, it's all important, right? But I'm particular about ceilings. And so I'm on a ladder and I'm sanding this and it's coming down in my face. It's okay. It's all okay because I'm getting a good job. This does a good job. Now, I'll tell you a story. Years ago, I wrote how-to articles for Fine Home Building magazine. There was a period of a few years there where I did that, and I did tool reviews. And Porter Cable came out with a electric motorized pole sander that was connected to a vacuum cleaner. And Fine Home Building had Porter Cable send me one to use and evaluate and write a review about. And I did that. And I don't remember what I said about it offhand, except probably this is a pretty neat tool, which it is. It's a pretty neat tool, and I still have it. That was one of the benefits of doing tool reviews. Very often, not always, but very often, I got to keep the tools. The vacuum cleaner, I kind of went through that, but I still have the pole sander. Truth be told, even that tool was nowhere near as good at getting a quality finished sand job as this right here. That's my opinion. This is the that Porter Cable sander. They have a disc like this that sometimes it leaves little swirl marks. It's a decent tool. I don't even know if they still sell it. I went looking to see if they did, but I don't think they make them anymore. A DeWalt makes a cordless drywall sander. So yeah, 450, 500 bucks and you're ready to go. But you'd be better off just getting one of these and buying a good quality respirator, if you ask me. The next thing, after I've sanded with this is kind of a leveling tool, okay? There are times when you need to kind of level. Here I've got a butt seam on a high stud, which is the worst situation you could have. And the stud's got a little bow to it, I guess. That's the nature of wood, right? So I'm feathering this out, and I tend to feather my drywall out a lot. Most of my seams here, right there, I don't know if that's in view, but boy, I got butt seams all over the place here. And I don't mind butt seams. I can finish butt seams. You gotta feather them out a long way. This one here is my problem. I'm gonna have to coat that a couple more times. The true test of whether you've done it well is to get your 2-foot level on that. And right there it looks good, but if I come over here, I got a little rock. So anyway, that's gonna be behind the bed. This is a bedroom. So it's not that critical, but still, if you're gonna do the job, you should do the best job you possibly can, whether it's going to be covered by furniture or not. That's my philosophy, I guess. Let me finish up by saying that the sanding sponge, like I have right here, this is a 3M product. This is what I like to finish up with. This has got the abrasive on the side here, as well as the top. Not all of them do. And this is, I go over everything with a final sanding with this. It's a finer grit, it does a great job. Yeah, the sand screen like this and this, that does it for me. I'm pretty happy with the finished product. So hey, I welcome your insight, your input as far as whether you sand and what you use to sand and all of that. Thanks very much for watching. I'll see you in the next video.